Hey guys, this is Kevin and Aisha Shelton with the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast,
where we navigate partnership, prosperity, and parenthood.
Hey guys, this is Aisha Shelton.
And this is Kevin Shelton.
Welcome back to Marriage and Real Estate.
My shirt is wrinkled. I'm just going to put it out there.
Look, so before we started filming, I was like, "Ooh, your shirt is wrinkled. I'm gonna have to take better care of my husband."
The Marriage and Real Estate shirts are wash ready. You can wash them
and wear them,
and then they'll be wrinkled.
Ready to be worn wrinkled. Get your merch on the website.
See, she wants to look all professional. I just wear T-shirts, so, you know.
You look really good in T-shirts.
Oh, do I? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some of them dad bod T-shirts. You seen them dad bod T-shirts? That's my solution to not working out. They're like heavy-weighted T-shirts that like make you look like you got a body.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, get one. I'd like to see it.
Facebook. I'm going to get it.
Oh, don't do it.
Why?
Y'all, Kevin always getting sold on stuff that's on, I was just about to say the bad word. Kevin's always getting sold on stuff that's on Instagram and Facebook.
I like sales.
He brought me some shoes.
Salesman.
I was like, oh, that's nice. Where'd that come from? He was like, Instagram. So Instagram ads work. If you have a product, please put it on your Instagram ads because Kevin is buying it.
But see, I get you stuff all the time. I guess you don't want this David Yurman bracelet.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, look at your face.
That's different. That's not on Instagram.
You don't know that.
David Yurman's
you
not
don't know what my
advertising.
cookies look like.
That's true. Okay, today we would like to reintroduce ourselves. We have been on the podcast via video.
Over 30 episodes now?
Over 30 episodes, but this is new to
Thanks
video.
To,
Stop cutting me off, Kevin.
Right,
Jesus Christ. Stop cutting me. Thank you. Okay, now let me just get one sentence out, then you jump in afterwards. That's how communication works. Me, then you. Me, then you. Okay, and don't be quiet when I'm done because I know that's what you're going to do. So because we're on video more, we would like to reintroduce ourselves as the Marriage and Real Estate team. And where we were, kind of some of the experiences that we've experienced, and honestly, how God has blessed us and where we are now.
Yeah.
See?
All that. That's going to piss you off.
Do right, Kevin.
All right, I'm sorry. No. We thankfully now are over 30 episodes thanks to the Creators Collective Podcast Network.
What's up?
So gang.
Is
What is that?
That's gang.
Is that the sign? Did they give you a sign?
Creators gang.
They
It's
jumped the sign?
H-Town.
Is that H-Town?
Yeah. Is this H-Town?
Is it backwards like that? Okay.
You know what?
I'm
are we
whack.
here for?
I don't do all that.
What are we here? What are we talking about today?
We're reintroducing ourselves.
We're introducing ourselves.
No, I'm a regular ass guy. I don't do all that.
So let's talk.
Start. Where are we starting from? Are we starting from how we met? How we got in real estate?
Yeah, because we're marriage and real
podcast?
estate. We're marriage and real estate. So let's talk about how we got married and how we got in real estate.
Okay. How we got married though?
How we tell the story, baby.
Well, you tell a story of how we met, and then I'll tell a story about like the marriage and stuff because I
Okay.
think that financially is valuable.
Okay. So I feel like I tell the story the best. That's why he always
I agree.
gives me carte blanche to tell the story, right? So Kevin and I met through a mutual friend at her birthday brunch. It was very casual at her house. And I knew, shout out to Chelsea, I knew Chelsea from her kids went to the daycare center that I was the assistant director of. And Kevin knew Chelsea because she was a project manager at
MD Anderson.
Right? And so Kevin was a project manager with another company. Anyway, both of us had flaked out on Chelsea on several occasions.
Now you're saying this on a whole last
I
video
know.
recording.
I mean, she knows the story. She knows the
true.
story.
That's true.
Both of us had flaked out on Chelsea on many occasions. She would always invite us to stuff. And, I mean, I'd show up sometimes, but I didn't make all of the invitations. And I feel like that was the same case for Kevin.
True.
But before Kevin and I met at Chelsea's house, before we crossed paths, Kevin was married, and I was in a long-term relationship. And so had I met Kevin when he was with his wife, like I met Kevin when he had a wife at Chelsea's functions, I would not have been interested in him at that time or in the future. Let me be clear.
Explain why, though.
Because you were with someone.
Yeah, and you're generally not interested in people
I don't,
who
right?
are with
So
somebody.
if I see a handsome guy,
Don't just make it sound like, you wasn't checking for me.
I wouldn't have been checking for you. If I see a handsome guy and then I realize that he has a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, that's it for me, right? I'm not that kind of chick like, oh, he fine. I want to see how I can. Nah, you got a husband, you got a wife, you got a girlfriend. You're not my type. I don't care what you look like. You with somebody, you're not my type. I don't like that kind of drama.
Okay.
Okay. And so anyway, the good Lord saw fit for us to be single at the same time.
You skipping the story.
Did I skip the story?
Yeah, tell a story about Kayla and the whole thing.
Let me get there, baby.
Okay.
I got you.
Sorry. All
So the good Lord saw us to be fit at the single at the same time, and Chelsea had her birthday brunch.
That's true.
Okay, so I come to the birthday brunch. Now, granted, it was very hard for me to get there. Chelsea stayed on the other side of town, and I really wanted a nap. However, I had flaked on Chelsea maybe 2 times before this. So I was like, okay, Aisha, you got to suck it up, buttercup. You have to go. So I went, right? So I make it to the event. And Kevin told me the same thing. He was like, I was so tired. I took a nap in my car. Like, I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I took a nap in the Walmart parking lot around the corner from my house.
Okay, so, and we made it, right? So we're at Chelsea's house, and it's a casual event. So we're talking about, I think I was talking about drinking with my friends and how much fun I had or whatever, because I'm a single chick out in these streets living my life. And Kevin, I saw Kevin in the kitchen, and he was all tall and dark and handsome, and I was like, ooh, he is fine, okay? But he kept talking about this chick named Kayla. So we're at brunch, and they're talking about stuff about work or whatever, and he kept saying, yeah, Chelsea, Kayla wants me to bring her some cake. Kayla this and Kayla that. So I was like, okay, he got a girl. He ain't that cute no more. You know what I'm saying?
My cuteness level just went down.
I just lost interest, right? So that was the end of that. So on my way out, Kevin is in the front of the house talking to Chelsea's husband, Smitty, and I'm walking away, and Chelsea runs out, and she's like, oh, E, she wants your number. And I was like, okay, girl, he kind of cute, give her my number. And she's like, I'm going to call you and tell you about him. I was like, nah. You got to call me and tell me about him. That's not the one for me. I'm done with drama. Like, I'm good. And she was like, no, he's really a good guy. I'm telling you, he's worth it. I was like, I trust you, because she loved me, and she want to see me with a good man. You know what I'm saying? You got friends like that? Do you have friends like that? Love, you want to see you with a good man? Okay. And so he did not call me for 2 days.
Yeah.
He didn't call me for 2 days. But let the record reflect, he wanted to call me immediately, right, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want y'all to know. He wanted to call me immediately, right?
But my sister told me not to.
But your sister told you not to. Said that you wouldn't be player if you called me the first day. And honestly, I kind of agree.
What? You ain't never said that before. We've been together 7 years. You ain't never said that before.
Okay, so you didn't call me for 2 days. So he calls me, and we hit it off immediately. And he asked me, what book are you reading? Hit the flow. I hit the flow. I was like, girl. He asked me, what book was I reading?
Panties soaking.
No, Kevin, I was just really excited. I was just really excited that you were interested in what book I was reading, because I don't come across very many guys who care about books.
Yeah.
Okay? So he asked me what book I was reading, and that's when I knew you was the one. I was like, that's the one.
So we went on our first date, and she ate a bite of my sandwich. And that's when I knew I was like, she really liked me, because she ate my sandwich.
Let me clarify, though. Okay, but where I'm from,
she just eats sandwiches.
People just be eating.
It ain't got nothing
food.
to do with me. So the funny thing is, years later, now I realize that she just eats sandwiches. She don't care.
It's not that. I just eat people's food.
Yeah, didn't care about me at all.
But if that gave you what you needed,
eat a stranger's food.
If that gave you what you needed to seal a deal, I appreciate eating your sandwich.
No. So fast forward. We joined our lives, and I mean, it was a whirlwind romance. Mm-hmm. I would say, and let me not say whirlwind romance, because we ain't do nothing like that. It was a real life romance. We lived a life together, and that was probably the easiest way for me, because I was still in college. I had, almost full custody of my child. I picked her up from school every day. I had school every night myself. Like, I worked a full-time job. On the weekends, I had an extra job. So, Like, it was a lot.
You had all them jobs though. I don't remember that. And when we were together,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you roll with that story.
I did lots of things. Oh, no. Hold on. You're right. On the weekends, I took Kayla to a dance class.
Y'all, Kevin like to tell these stories about how he worked 12 jobs and he like a hustler. And that's true. You did that at one point, but that is not true. That is the
At the time in which we dated, you're correct. I had
one
Kayla
job
on the weekends. I did have one job. I made enough money to only have one job at the time.
You made enough
money.
That
is true.
So,
that is true. I did make a decent amount of money at the time we were together.
Okay, so that's how
I'm blending my life.
You are. That's how we met. And, you know, we were very much, we had the same aspirations. So if there's any advice that I can give any single person and you're looking to be coupled with someone, like make sure you guys have the same.
That's true. That made it easier.
It does. It does. Have you ever tried to, I used to always say this to my ex that, no, I'm like, do I even talk about this? I used to always say this to my ex. We're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah, but you didn't say it in a good way to him. You're like, I'm trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It was a bad thing. It wasn't a good thing.
No, I'm not saying that it was a good thing. I think it's never a good thing
I think the way that you phrased it made it seem like you were about to say something good about your ex or something, and that wasn't the case.
I don't think so.
Okay, hey.
So a square peg in a round hole is never good, right? So I used to call it a square peg in a round hole. I'm the square peg. He was the round hole, and I kept trying to make us fit, and we didn't fit.
Yep.
And I mean that's fine, right? You just didn't fit.
I mean, it was what it was.
It wasn't a fit for me, but there's obviously a fit for somebody, I hope. And so Kevin and I were the round hole and the round peg.
So let me pick up my side of the story now. So we got together, and when we got together, the first thing we did was really like Aisha said, kind of blend our goals or see where we wanted our life to go. And in that, there were several obstacles we had to overcome. I was still in school, which Aisha helped me graduate within the first 6 months of us being together. And I'd been in school 10 years. I changed jobs. Like, within the first 6 months, it radically revolutionized our life, right? We put our money together. Not only did the freedom from school increase my salary, $30K, we started looking at how we could blend our households. So I want to say January of that year, I asked you to be my wife, and we moved in together. I still had an apartment and a lease until that following August. So we basically throwing $1,300 a month away, but we wanted to be together and put our money together, and she had a $700 mortgage, so that worked. So we balled out for a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. We did. We burned cash for quite a bit. But then we got our shit
when
together.
when you have one income for a long time, and then you put those incomes
traveled.
together.
We did. We
like,
did the
we
most.
got a lot of money.
Oh man, we balled out. We did the most.
And the reason we know that we quote unquote balled out was because we calculated it, right?
How much money we wasted.
A lot of
was 30s of
a lot of
thousands
people just spend money, right? And I think we were working. What were we do? Were we paying off debt?
Well, no. What happened was,
we were saving for the wedding.
We paid off debt first.
Yes.
So we paid off all our debt, and then we had all this money.
But why did we calculate? For some reason, we started to calculate how much money we were spending.
How much the wedding cost.
Okay, yes.
So I'm a really good planner. I'm a planner by nature. So when I asked her to be my wife in January, I reasonably knew when, what ring I wanted to buy, and I didn't buy her a ring at the time.
Y'all, that was a big point of contention.
It was a huge thing.
Kevin thought
because
we were
even
engaged.
though we were engaged, hold on. What? What? I thought we were engaged. I asked you to be my wife. You accepted. That hence creates an engagement.
It does.
I gave you like a little ring charm. You a hater, fool. Like, you know what?
Kevin, people are judging you.
I don't care. Judge my receipts. We got married. What are you talking about? Like,
that was was a big thing.
So let me explain my plan. Her ring cost thousands of dollars. So I didn't have cash like that to just blow, racks and racks on a ring. So I paid for it over time. So I custom designed it with a jeweler, and I literally put it on a payment plan. Her ring wasn't going to be paid off until I planned to formally propose. I planned to formally propose in October on a trip to Boston.
Y'all,
January. Let me bring
October.
the story around, because you shitting on me, and I don't like that.
I am not.
All right, let me frame the story. So look, asked her to be my wife in January. Immediately started planning the wedding. We booked our wedding venue in February.
Yes.
Booked the hotel for our wedding, which was the following March, in February. So everything was on a payment plan. So literally inside a year, right, we planned the wedding, paid for the wedding. So when we got to our wedding day, it was paid off. We didn't carry any debt. And here's the dope part about it. The proposal I had planned in Boston, and I'll do the proposal story in another time. It's a whole different thing. But basically, we flew to Boston, did a week-long trip. I flew mad people out there for a custom proposal, rented Airbnb. We all flew out the next day to a surprise party hosted by another one of her friends here, and all this stuff was paid for. I paid for it well in advance. So, yeah, you ain't get your ring in January, but you got a whole bunch of other stuff along the way, and you got to pay for a wedding. And mad folks out here with rings that never get married. So, bump all that.
Can we've already had this.
And we bought 2 cars the week of our wedding and bought out. So
this is merely a conversation. We've been married for quite some time, so you don't have to get all
we coming up on our anniversary. So.
bent out of shape. Oh, we are.
5 years.
Whoop whoop.
So anyway,
so don't get all bent out of shape. This was a thing. I think it's worth discussing. I think it's worth talking about. Right? That's the thing. Can you propose? And that's maybe a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Can you propose without a ring?
I think that 100% depends on the relationship you have with your partner, because we had an understanding, and it
obviously we did not have an understanding.
No,
you
it wasn't until
understanding.
other people got engaged around you with rings that it became an issue.
Sir.
So,
how you
let me
expect a
explain
woman
the story.
to be excited about being engaged without a ring?
So you agreed, we would get married, all this other stuff. Suddenly, close friends and family members get engaged, and it's like, oh, such and such is engaged. I can't wait till we get engaged. Like, we ain't engaged. I'm like, hold on, what you mean? We got a whole wedding date. We paying for this every month. We doing all this other stuff. She's like, well, such and such got a ring. She's actually engaged. And it was a whole...
It was a huge point of contention in our engagement ship. For real. And don't stop defending yourself. Let's just talk about it.
Why wouldn't I defend myself?
Because it's not, we've been
sorry.
married for quite some time.
I'm sorry.
What I'm trying to get at, and for other people to hear and have the ability to weigh on, is like, can you be married without a ring? I mean, can you be engaged without a
100%.
ring? And we can have different opinions, and that be okay.
So can people get married? Can people be engaged without a ring? You're going to have a panel of chicks. I think you should do a panel episode.
Somebody write that down, because I'm going to forget.
All right. Show notes, please. Somebody.
Look,
let me put it in my computer.
Can you get engaged? Can you get engaged without a ring? But we'll leave that there. That's a whole nother episode, and I'm going to get a nice little group of women up here for that. Can you get engaged without a ring? Because Kevin and I agree to disagree. And honestly, we did get married. And there were people around us that got engaged that didn't get married. That got engaged with rings that didn't get married.
That's true.
But again, how did it make me feel?
I could have went and got you one of them dollar store rings. You could have got one of them, what do they call it? What are halo rings?
Don't talk about people's rings.
I ain't talking about... Who's here? What are you talking about? I said I could have got you a halo ring. I could.
That wasn't the purpose of this episode. I swear we didn't spend entirely too much time talking about were we really engaged.
Obviously, it was a damn issue. Still to this day.
It's a conversation for the podcast audience.
No, true. All right. So the point was to reintroduce ourselves. So we did all that. We got married. We together. Voila.
And while we were married, before we were married, we talked about real estate, right? Mm-hmm. That was a thing for us. And we were a good balance because Kevin had the skill, right? His background is in construction, and I had the book knowledge. So apart, neither one of those things are valuable, right? Kevin was building for somebody else, and I just had all of this knowledge that I couldn't do anything with,
Execute with.
right? So together, the skill plus the knowledge, we were
Equals
able
action.
we were able to create K&A Companies, which is Kevin and Aisha companies.
And from that spark Park Street.
But K&A Companies was a whole lot of.
All right, good news come through the watch.
K&A Companies was a whole lot of. Kevin is so distracted. We podcasting.
I'm not distracted. Okay, let me say this.
Don't defend yourself.
I like the fact that I'm real on the podcast. People really out here living life.
Yeah,
Joe Budden and them be real. Why can't we be real? They be doing whatever they do.
do they really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a thing.
Okay.
You don't even
Well, if
listen
Joe
or
Budden
watch
does
the
it,
podcast like that.
I don't. If Joe Budden does it, then you know what?
I'm not saying Joe Budden is whatever the podcast got. I'm saying it's a thing.
Joe Budden, the podcast guy.
No. I mean, look at Joe Rogan. Look at whatever. You're talking about people who are the top in the podcast game or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying I'm out here living my real life.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear your news after we're done
No,
with
for sure.
the podcast.
But no, so action bred from book knowledge and skill set.
Mm-hmm.
We created K&A Companies.
Created K&A Companies.
Then spurred Park Street and all the many other facets that we got into in real estate investing.
Yeah, but this is the reintroduction and like the journey.
Okay.
So K&A Companies
All
was
right.
formed,
That is
and
true.
we did our first flip under K&A Companies.
We did.
We pulled the equity out.
So we did a combo, right? Because it wasn't just a flip. We got to the flip, and the flip was like last. First thing we did was we started construction on a new house to turn our existing home, which always planned to be a rental, into a rental home. Mm-hmm. But before we moved out of that rental, we took a HELOC out on that home and used that money to prepare to buy a flip.
So I think it's important
Super
to
complex.
say no. I think it's important to say when I was, and you've heard this story before if you listen to the podcast or if you started from the beginning. When I was 24, I bought my first house, and I knew that it would be a rental, and that when I got a family, I wanted to move up. Move up a house, right?
And that teed us up, right?
It
That
did.
$700 mortgage paved the way for everything that we do
It
now.
was the catalyst for our real estate journey.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could, I'm always like talking to people, right? So if I could talk to single women, if you're waiting to buy a house, if you're waiting for a husband to buy a house, don't. It's an investment.
Same thing with men. Don't wait to buy a house.
Right.
Buy a house.
Same thing with men. Say it again.
Men buy houses. Refer to our episode, Black Men Buy Houses.
Black men buy houses.
Men buy houses in general.
People buy houses. Don't wait to reach a goal to buy a house because it's an investment. Because that investment,
It starts your wealth journey.
it was one of the catalysts for our wealth journey. So when we got married, I think we were married when we started building the house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we
Or
got
actually,
married,
yes, we were.
when we got married, then we started to build a house for us together.
Well, hold on, rewind. The first thing we did was get married,
Yes.
right? So this is a marriage and real estate podcast. So let's be real with the people. We put our finances together,
Yep.
and we had a plan to get married.
Yep.
So a lot of people juggle between paying for a wedding or buying an investment, right? And you can do both. Now, you choose your poison. So we had the big wedding. We paid for our wedding. That was a thing, and we did that financially responsible, so we didn't go into it with debt. So that's a thing. But that doesn't mean you can't buy a rental property with that money and go get married at the courthouse, right? The goal is put your money together, do something together, and start your journey, right? Or does that make reasonable sense?
No, that's good. I mean, we made.
I just don't want people get hung up on the
what?
like. Some people get hung up on, I need to pay for this big wedding before I can start investing, or I should start investing and I can't get this wedding. You can have both. It's how you structure it, how you plan it.
Nah, I think it depends on your situation. We could have both because of our situation. I think
True.
because there were several things that we did before, right?
True.
Before we got married, we combined finances. That
Yep.
was one, so that we could have.
And
more.
that was a position of strength. That really helped us. You tired of me cutting you off.
I appreciate that. We combined finances so that we could be more powerful financially, right? We put all our debt down on paper. Your debt is my debt, and my debt is your debt, and we accepted that, right?
Yep.
Like, hey, you got debt, hey, me too. So we made a plan of attack for our debt,
Yep.
and then we made a plan of attack for the wedding because we wanted to pay the wedding off completely, right? And that's what we did. And then after we got married, we started our real estate journey.
Yeah. Which, so side note, completely separate topic. You know what I noticed? I always call you a queen of cutting off, and I've been mad cutting you off
You have.
in all these podcasts. So I rescind that title.
Okay. You the king.
I apologize.
Now you the king
for
cutting.
you off. And I don't need to be the king. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it's equal.
Yeah.
You cut me off just as much as I cut you off.
Y'all pray for me, y'all.
Pray
Anyway,
for me.
we got married and we
started building
a new house. And the home that started our wealth building journey was the first house that I bought.
Yep.
We pulled the equity out of that home to buy our first flip.
Yep.
Right? So we bought our first flip with that home, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yep.
When we started K&A Companies, we had big eyes, big dreams, big goals, and so we wanted to educate people.
We were listening to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, we listened to a lot of podcasts. We had an education component to it. We had a flipping component. There was Airbnb.
Yep.
There was, what else? Flipping, Airbnb.
Traditional rentals.
Education, adding rentals to our portfolio. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot, okay?
Airbnbs, rentals, flips. We weren't doing new construction yet.
No. Okay, so while you think about it, so we put together all of this stuff, right? And in 2019, we realized that it was too much.
Yep. And that's when we simplified.
And to be honest, it all came crumbling down.
That's not true.
It crumbled.
It didn't crumble. We actually slowly, incrementally sold everything.
We did. That's a crumble to me.
No, what crumbled was the capacity to manage it all. You were overwhelmed with it all, and you were like, sell all this shit. That's a different thing. It didn't crumble like we woke up one day and it was all gone.
Is that your version of the story?
That's what happened. Now, I'll say this. 2019 showed that it wasn't what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know, babe.
We didn't have the capacity to maintain it all. It was too much to do. We had too many moving parts.
It was too many moving parts.
So we had to simplify.
2019, we were doing before we were doing way too much. And then in 2020, we decided to simplify.
Yep.
Kevin, we got into the new construction game. I think 2019 we built our first new construction home.
2019. It was either 2019, 2018.
We built a new construction home, and then we simplified. Kevin does construction.
Yep.
Aisha does sales, real estate sales, right?
That was 2019 then.
Okay, so Aisha does real estate sales. So we sold the Airbnbs.
Yep.
We sold some of the land that we had.
Yep.
We
sold the rentals that weren't rented.
We just sold a bunch of stuff and said let's scorch the earth and start all over again.
Yep.
And we did. So now we have these two companies, real estate agent and Park Street. We don't teach nobody nothing.
Well, we talk through marriage and real estate.
We not don't ask me when we hosting another class. We're not doing that no more.
We were doing a lot. We had classes every quarter.
We're not doing play dates in real estate where you bring your kids.
We had a whole play dates in real estate.
It's a nice idea, but it's just too much, right?
Idea so nice we did it twice.
And we did do it twice. And so we've made the podcast our outlet to share information.
That is our vehicle now to teach.
That is our vehicle to teach.
I keep cutting you off.
You keep cutting me
Look at your
off.
face. I'm trying to add to you.
Are you
both of your words?
I appreciate.
I love you.
We did a lot. I don't even know where we are. When you cut me off, like I lose my train of thought.
No, that makes sense. I got you.
Well,
we did a lot. It was too much. We simplified our life down. Here we are, marriage and real estate. We caught up. Close us out. Too much. Did I fast forward too fast?
No. So that was where we came from in the most complicated way, spending at least 15 minutes talking about a proposal, if it was a proposal, if it wasn't a proposal.
That's true.
And now we have we're currently working on. I think it's good to talk about what we're currently working on.
Oh yeah, sure.
16 townhome development,
Yep.
which we've got lots of press about.
Mm-hmm.
The word is spreading. I have exclusive rights to sell that, which is atypical for a real estate agent to. I mean, not atypical for your average real estate agent. So most people really have to hustle for the business that they get
You
in
have the
real
leads
estate.
built in.
I have built-in leads that makes my job
Easier.
a little bit easier, and so our life looks much different. The
Yep.
evolution has been one that I certainly embrace, because doing all those hard things and trying to be a jack of all trades and a master of none did not work well for us. So I would say, if there's anything that I wanted you guys to walk away with, it would be to, understand the value of partnership,
Mm-hmm.
choose the right partner,
Yep.
not just anybody. I don't care how old you are. Don't just choose anybody. Because I thought my life was over after my breakup at 32, 31.
Oh,
How old was I?
you just crapping on a man. You were like 30.
It's not. I didn't remember.
I'm just giving you a
Okay,
hard time.
so
Relax.
I thought that at the
No, you were 30.
at 30, right? So I
Yeah.
thought, like, oh God, I'm 30. I'm never gonna have a family. I'm never gonna have children. And wow, my children are beautiful, and my husband is fine. Okay, so find the right partner, and also have similar goals and aspirations, and get on the same page.
Yeah.
I'm not saying combine that, but I am saying that once you are married, what's mine is yours. And so if you're going to be married, start the process of what's mine is yours, or wait until you're married and start the process of what's
Yeah.
mine is yours. And then finally, I would say, simplify.
Yeah, I would say, looking back on it now, where we ended up, even though it took a long road or whatever, was what we were doing the best anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we would have if we would 80-20'd our life and did what we were really good at, that, on the construction end, put the best product out, on the sales end, created the best experience for your clients, and we enjoy the most, right? Gives us the most time and enjoyment in our family. That was where we are ending up. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the journey. But we went a long way around to get there, which I guess you have to a degree.
Sometimes, I prefer the shortcut. Like somebody said, "Oh, that was a mistake for me. Don't do this." I would have preferred that
That's
instead
the
of
journey of the podcast.
the actual journey.
So I'd say also, you're 100% right about choosing your partner. Somebody said that your spouse is the most important decision you'll ever make. And also, when you make that decision, go all in, whatever that looks like, right? So I think when we came together and put everything together, we were all in and committed to whatever our goals were. So,
it's late. I think it's about time we wrap up. If Martinisha is in the building, if that was an incomplete thought, I'm sorry, y'all. It's time for everybody to go, including ourselves.
all right, we'll wrap it up then. Close this out.
This has been the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast.
We ain't got time to tell y'all bye.
Bye.